Alright, so we just watched possibly the greatest movie ever created by mankind.
I'd say it's a cinematic masterpiece.
Honestly, though, like Titanic,
Endgame?
Avatar,
Nah.
Super Mario Brothers 1993,
Now that's a good movie.
eye-popping special effects.
Honestly, those special effects, they popped my eyes out.
My eyes are 99% pop.
I had to poke them back in.
I honestly, I haven't found mine.
Okay.
We're still.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this movie.
So, it starts out with Mario narrating about the dinosaurs and about a meteorite that hit the Earth so hard that it just created an alternate dimension.
You know what just hit me? How did Mario know about that?
He was probably telling the story after the fact.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just gotta say, Pokemon ripped that off with their whole meteorite, alternate dimensions, mumbo jumbo stuff.
Yes.
What
I'm
is
just
that?
gonna hold this here the whole time. This is a pop filter. So that's better. That's better. So, main characters are Mario and Luigi. One of the things I have to say this movie got right was,
The fact that Mario is in it.
yeah,
It's definitely a plus.
the fact that their last name is Mario. But I mean, like, it wasn't too focused on Mario or Luigi. It actually balanced them out surprisingly well.
I'd say it had a bigger focus on Luigi, if anything. Because it was Daisy. Not
Because Luigi was the driving force, but
Yeah,
Mario was the one who went through the arc.
That's
Right.
true. That's fair.
So like, and both of them did some cool stuff, but
Cool stuff.
yeah, like Luigi had those rocket boots and Mario fought Bowser. Sorry, King Koopa.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he pulled out the bomb.
Big problem with this movie is, well, first of all, the CGI budget was blown on a bunch of dumb stuff, so they had to get a human to play King Koopa instead of it actually being cool.
Yeah. They kind of just. Well, no, Travis. You see, they had to because they needed those eye-popping special effects.
You're right. So they should have used those eye-popping special effects on King Koopa. Special effects were actually pretty decent, to be honest. They weren't awful, especially for 1998.
Yeah, especially for the time, they're not horrible. They're definitely not modern, like to this day. There's some movies from this time that looked a lot better.
And there are movies from that time that looked
a lot worse.
Way worse. Like, there's this, I forget what the movie's called, but it's called, like, Small Soldiers or something. It's, like, from 1998, and it looks so terrible. But it's actually a better movie than this.
Well, CGI isn't everything.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Story is the most important thing. Speaking of which, I would say the biggest problem with this story is the characters and the conflict they have with each other.
I mean, I'd say it's also just like everything.
Honestly.
I mean, the only good thing, I guess, is like there's kind of like a decent romance. Like, it's not the worst thing in the universe. I did like the fact that they didn't overplay Mario, so they kind of just like left him to the sideline because it was less important.
Yeah.
Which I'd say is probably the better choice, because honestly, it would have been annoying if they just spent time on him.
Like, they definitely had to, like, trim down the amount of stuff they were gonna have in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, Yoshi is there for like 5 minutes and he does practically nothing important.
I'd say the pacing in this movie is pretty decent. Most of the stuff that they set up earlier in the movie does come back.
Yeah.
Mario picks up the Bob-omb and he uses it in the end.
I would actually say the movie started out a lot more cohesive than it ended.
Yeah.
Like, it started out with like a plan, like a really good idea.
Yeah.
The hugest problem was just they decided to make the villains stupid.
Well, I'd say another thing is they started out as like a semi-realistic Brooklyn, and then they added in sci-fi elements, and that kind of messed it up.
Yeah, it was. They tried to. It was just inconsistent. They tried to like make it very realistic, and then they tried to make it absurd, and it doesn't flow.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing that's pretty common with all these movies is like, you put in something that's supposed to be like cartoony and goofy, and you put it in the real world, it just doesn't mesh.
Yeah, it's like if you want to get that to work, let's look at another Bob Hoskins movie, which is, have you seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
I know of it. I've seen parts.
Okay, so that's that movie has some problems, but it's still a very good movie because like throughout the entire time, the world's built in a way where these two seemingly contradictory things are just always together. So you just get used
Well,
to
yeah,
it. So
I
it's
was
not a
just,
it's not a matter of
I'd
inconsistency.
say another reason for that was just because that's like the whole point of the movie.
Well, yeah. Well, like the whole point of this movie is like the idea of like bringing this world to life, and the problem with the way
Yeah.
you did that was the inconsistencies, where they're
Yeah.
trying to make it real, but they're also trying to make it
Yeah.
absurd.
I'd say another movie that falls to the same problem is like The Smurfs or something like that, where you take something that's like really cartoony and you put it realistic, it just doesn't work.
I would rather watch this than the Smurfs.
That's true. At least this is like so bad that it's funny.
Smurfs is just like Smurfs is like if you're making a movie like the Smurfs, we've been through this enough that you should know better. Like-
Yeah. Probably another one of the bigger issues, because you can talk about plot and story as much as you want, as like acting like it's a standalone, but knowing that it comes from a game, that changes some things, because you have to think about how well they adapted it, and they did not do that well. Like
Yeah.
Mario doesn't act like Mario, Luigi doesn't act like Luigi. It's
Yeah.
Daisy, not Peach.
No, no.
And
Yeah,
Bowser's a human for some reason.
it's for the CGI budget. That's why.
Yoshi looks nothing like normal Yoshi. Like
Yeah.
it's just not a good adaptation. Like even like the story's bad.
I think it should have just been like something like what's the movie Enchanted? You know the movie Enchanted, but reverse.
Oh yeah, Enchanted's a pretty good example of this actually being done like semi well.
Yeah.
Although I'm not a big fan of Enchanted, I can say it's probably better than this.
Yeah, it's probably more cohesive for sure. But like, if they had done it like Enchanted, but like, except going from the real world to the cartoon world.
You know
that
what they
might
could have done? They could have done something like the original like Mario show. What if they had done that except both of the segments actually affected each other?
like what both segments of what?
Because like in the Mario show, there's like the animated one and then there's the normal one. They could have done something like that where they mixed those together, like Enchanted style.
Well, if you want to talk about horrible live action Mario,
That's better than this.
well, it's better because it doesn't serve as big of a purpose.
Yeah. I mean, there are some. This is probably a little bit like the other one. I'd say Mario looks better in my opinion. It looks more like what I would think Mario would look like.
He just looks like a stoner to me.
Also, Mario's balding in this movie. He has like full hair in the video games. Like if you see
Yeah.
Mario's hair, like he has some nice hair. It's like reddish brown.
Well, this was made before you'd seen Mario's hair at all.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So, yeah. Also, I have to say, one of the utter works of genius that this movie had was predicting the tropes for not only Mario 64, the whole painting thing. But also, what's the other one?
It predicted 9/11.
They predicted 9/11.
It predicted a bunch of things. It predicted like slide levels. It predicted
Yeah.
it predicted a lot of things.
I want to see a Mario Kart level where it's just them going through those pipes.
What if there's a Mario Kart level where it's just getting chased by the police, and the police just take out like realistic guns?
Grand Theft Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something else. Oh yeah, it predicted Infinity War.
Oh yeah, because it got
Everyone-
snapped.
It's melting.
That was hilarious.
Got snapped. Yeah. It predicted the Voldemort music.
Yeah.
That was like the soundtrack. I would actually say is one of the.
It was a pretty decent soundtrack.
Yeah, it's not like because every movie soundtrack nowadays is just a whole notes forever.
Well, also every movie soundtrack is just a bunch of songs, like popular songs these days.
Yeah,
There aren't too many. Like most movies are just rely on the songs that they have.
this soundtrack was way better than the movie itself. Like you can tell there's a lot more effort put into the soundtrack than the actual
Yeah.
plot and story. Like characters is just the biggest goof up in my opinion because it's like Mario
Yeah.
and Luigi, their rapport with each other, it's decent, but
It doesn't feel like Mario and Luigi though.
it doesn't really get built up. It's more like it feels like you're watching a sitcom rather than you're watching a movie where the characters grow and change.
Another thing that I would say is Mario and Luigi are silent protagonists for the most part. The only one that's not is like Luigi. He talks in the Paper Mario games, but like
yeah.
they're silent protagonists for the most part. Like if you played any of the Mario games that actually have a story, they don't really talk much. So like that's the same issue with like trying to translate Link into a speaking role. It doesn't work.
Yeah, well, the same thing with like this came out before the Mario and Luigi games.
Well, yeah.
So,
But I'm just saying, like, you don't take, like, Mario never really has a distinct personality. So he doesn't work well when you're trying to make him have interactions with characters.
I think that's the whole reason why a Mario movie would never work unless you take a lot of liberties, which this movie tried to do.
Yeah.
But it just like it should have focused on telling like a good story and making the whole Mario gimmick a second priority. But that's where it really failed. Was the whole Mario thing was the most important thing. But it also felt like it was made by someone who never actually played the games.
Well, I mean, that's pretty obvious.
Like there's in
Yeah.
a really gross, dirty downtown area for the
Yeah,
entire
that's
time.
not Mario. Like, I feel like if you're gonna make something based on something so cartoony and lively and animated, you can't make it realistic and gritty. Like, it's the same reason that people don't like the art style of Brawl and stuff like that. It's like, these are cartoony characters. You don't make them realistic.
Yeah.
Mario should never wear denim. Like,
Isn't that what he always wears anyway?
well, like, not like realistic denim, is what I'm saying. Like,
Oh crap!
Mario should not be realistic.
I think in an animated Mario, well, like you know what would really work for like Mario is like an animated Pixar short where he doesn't talk at all.
What about a silent film?
Like I was thinking about that, but I think like that's where the Pixar short would work better because like you could make a silent film, but I feel like it would be way too artsy of a concept for Mario. I think you should just make a short film where like before a movie.
What
where
if
just,
they did a short film for Mario and it was just like with grunts and noises? That'd be pretty cool.
I think that would actually and Charles Martinet would just be like. Yeah, I think that could really work out. Like it's about him. Like if it's a short about him doing all the great things and Luigi feeling left out, and then them like making it up in the end. You know.
Another really good concept for a Mario movie would just be like a movie about Bowser and his son, because they're some of the few Mario characters that are really interesting. Like if you've played any of the Mario and Luigi games, Bowser's a great.
Mario, why did you interrupt my family vacation?
No, I mean like the RPG games.
Mm-hmm.
It like a movie about like Bowser and a relationship with his son would be a really interesting film.
Yeah.
Because like that's one thing. That's the reason like movies like Detective Pikachu worked, is because it's not about the main story. Like you've heard the Mario story time and time again. You want to see something interesting, something different.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why people enjoy spin-offs.
Yes, that's really the only reason why Detective Pikachu could work because it was such an obscure, like concept put into such an obscure setting that it's like, shoot, I'm just gonna check it out.
It's unique.
Yeah.
You know, you don't like. It's the same reason that people hate like the Spider-Man intros. It's because we've seen it again and again. Like, for example, Marvel's done a really good job of just not doing that anymore. Like, if you watch like the old Tom Holland movies, they do that intro, and it's so overdone.
You mean the old Tobey Maguire?
Tobey Maguire.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, not Tom Holland.
The intro where it's like it shows stuff from the last movie.
Well, I mean like the whole like Uncle Ben stuff. I'm saying like.
Oh,
it's
the
an
origin.
I'm saying it's an overdone thing, so people don't like seeing it, and so
the Sam Raimi, I think that's his name, the original Spider-Man trilogy. I think it did it well. It's just like when the Amazing Spider-Man movies tried to do it again, they just screwed everything up.
Basically, what I'm saying is, don't make a movie out of something that's already been seen.
Yeah, it's like that's the problem with like all the remakes. You know, it's like
no one wants to see it because you've already seen it.
That and also it's just the same movie making the same mistakes. You know, generally speaking, that's why it's like Star Wars. It's like all the remakes have the same problems and stuff. All the like the new Indiana Jones movie, I have serious doubts about. You know.
No, to correlate it back to Nintendo, another example of this would be like the new Super Mario Brothers games. No one likes them anymore because they're overdone. Like having a unique and novel concept for your video game movie is important. Mm-hmm. You don't want to just say the same story over and over again. It's not interesting.
The other thing about the actual Mario video games themselves is like the new Super Mario games didn't introduce any new mechanics or ideas. It was just the same stuff from before.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying like movies like Sonic and Smurfs and all that. Because it's the same movie over and over and over again. No one wants to see it.
I would want to see like kind of a Kirby-esque Mario platformer where it's like Galaxy but as a platform game. I think that'd be much more interesting than just a new Super Mario Brothers game.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that I will say this movie does do well. It is a unique experience. It's not a movie that you're going to be seeing. Like, you're not going to see the same plot in very many movies.
It takes a lot of the ideas behind, like, classic 80s arcs for how action movies are supposed to go and does it in a way that's either stupid or a little bit more interesting.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's so stupid that it's interesting.
Yeah.
Which I'd say goes to this movie's credit because, like,
Mhm.
you know, this is a very rewatchable movie compared to movies like The Smurfs that just are the same thing that we've
Yeah.
already seen. Like, this
Yeah.
movie at least is unique. At the
Yeah.
very least, it is unique.
It like some risks are taken. It's just the risks aren't maneuvered in a way that is
Yeah.
intelligent. They're just maneuvered
Yeah.
in a way that's like let's make them stupid and let's make that the driving force. Right. That's why like movies like The Last Jedi. The reason why people criticize them so much is like the driving force can't be like making stupid mistakes. You know, like the driving force has to be like doing something that seems obviously right in the moment or the obvious way things are gonna go. It's not about like
Yeah.
subverting your expectation to have a goof
Yeah.
and like. This is bothering me.
So, I think we should probably wrap it up.
So yeah, to wrap it up,
Um,
would you recommend this movie?
I recommend you to watch it with a friend or a group of friends. It's
Yeah.
not something you should watch because you think it's interesting. It's something you should watch because it's fun to make fun of.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the things that if you're in the mood to enjoy something stupid and not have to pay attention, go for it. But if you're looking for an interesting movie,
If you're looking to be entertained, this probably not your movie.
yeah. So I give it probably 4 out of 10.
In terms of like watchability alone, like a 1 out of 10, but like just like making fun of it, probably like a 9 out of 10. It's pretty good.
It's a pretty spicy movie. All right.
So I guess that's the end of the
First movie review.
movie review. Let's not do more of these.
I want to do.
Next time it's just like one of the prequels.